Gurunam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bhedu Vibhagine Vyomavat Pyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Gukarasto Andhakaro Vai Rukarastvo Nivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvat Guritya Vidhiyate Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So in this first half hour we are doing the steps to Nididhyasanam, the Vedantic meditation. And so here the Vyakyakara as well as the writer of Anubhuti, Aparoksha Anubhuti, has contrasted the Vedantic meditation with yogic meditation because the yogic meditation is a very, very effective one. But then the Vedantic meditation adds something more to it. So this is given in the 3 verses of the Aparoksha Anubhuti, number 118, 119 and 120. So we'll go over that today. So verse number 118 says, Chittadi sarva bhaveshu brahmatvena eva bhavanat nirodha sarva vrittinam pranayamah sa uchyate. So here he says that pranayama here, which is the step that we are going through, is called that which is involved in having all thoughts be relatively involved with Atma, or seeing the role of the Atma in all thoughts. That's what he's saying. He says, Chittadi. So, Chitta means the mind. So, mind, Adi here means, which is an etc. Adi means etc. Adiyasya. Chitta Adiyasya is called Chittadi. So, it means etc. Etc. means what? Means your sense organs of action. So really everything that you do. So Chittadi sarva bhaveshu. Whatever your life consists of, whatever thoughts you consist of, whatever actions you consist of, whatever drishti you have, Brahmatvena eva bhavanat. You must include Brahman. Brahman is the Atma, which is you, your own reality. The fact that you are the very Sakshi. So to the awareness that we just look at things without understanding who is looking and what is the nature of the person that is looking. Nature of the person means it's not just the drashta, but the very sakshi behind the drashta. That's making the drashta can also be shrota, can be a listener, could be a seer, but the consciousness which makes me a Shrota or a Vakta is the one which is Brahman. So he says, Chittadi sarva bhaveshu brahmatvena eva bhavanat nirodhaha sarva vrittinam pranayama uchyate. So he says, really speaking, what you need to do is nirodha. So here I think we can simplify this a little bit. In the yogic meditation, what is intended is the nirodha of two things. One is your breath. Your breathing should become so automatic and so regulated that it's no longer an issue. It is always an issue if we have some tension or something like this, there our breathing gets interrupted. But if the breathing has been well controlled, and with that the mind has been well controlled, then you have the end result of a peaceful state of the mind. So this is the yogic meditation. Now what is the Vedantic meditation? Vedantic meditation means it's not mere removal of thoughts, not the mere removal of irregularities in your breathing. It helps to do that. It's not as though it is opposed to it. It is enough but not accurate. No, that's not right. Enough but accurate means which is correct but not sufficient. That's the way I wanted to express. The Vedantic, the yogic meditation. So the Vedantic meditation is where it is not just your mind and breathing that needs to be controlled, but you have to remove any actions, any thinking. So sarva bhaveshu, in all kinds of experiences, you need to eliminate the fact that it is independently existing. In fact, it is dependently existing. So one example of that would be, we are very familiar with that instead of simply looking at the ornaments, you should appreciate what the ornament. You can appreciate the ornaments. We're not saying don't appreciate the ornaments, don't appreciate the beauty. Of course, appreciate the beauty. But appreciate the shine, the color, the beauty, which is the content of the gold or silver or some other metal that you are choosing to do. So this is what it's saying. That when you look at things, you don't just appreciate the beauty of things, but appreciate where the beauty comes from. So that is the meaning of this. He says, Chittadi sarva bhaveshu brahmatvena eva bhavanat. Not vina Brahma, but with Brahma, along with it. Nirodha sarva vrittinam pranayama uchyate. So this is the verse number 18 that introduces it. And then in the verse number 119 and 120, he elaborates it further. Okay, so so let's look at number 19, 119. I was going to see if there's anything else that, because I want to finish all three today, so maybe I won't go into some of the details of the other one. In number 19 and number 20 is based on the simple principle that we went through last time, which is that in the yogic meditation, there are three portions, right? Three steps. So one is called Rechaka, one is Puraka, and one is Kumbhaka. So let's just review that I think you know that by now. So Rechaka means to expel the breath. Puraka means to take the breath in. And Kumbhaka means to maintain the breath that has been inhaled. So exhale, inhale, and retain are the three basic steps of yogic meditation. So with respect to that, the verse number 119 and 120 says the following. So let's read that. 119 says, Nishedhanam prapanchasya Rechaka akhyah samiranaha Brahma eva asmiti yavrittihi purakaha vayuriritaha. Okay, let me read that again. Nishedhanam prapanchasya Rechaka akhyah samiranaha Brahma eva asmiti yavrittihi purakaha vayuhu iritaha. I'll explain that in a minute. Let me go through number 120 also, because the two are related. Tatas tadvritti naischalyam kumbhakaha prana samyamaha ayam cha api prabuddhanam ajnanam dhrana pidanam. Okay, so now let us look at the meaning of the two verses. I left my phone there because it was not charged, so I have to check my times from time to time. So 19 and 20 say the following. Prapanchasya nishedhanam rechaka akhya. So when you say exhale in the yogic meditation, when you say exhale in yogic meditation, what about the Vedantic meditation? So he says, Nishedhanam prapanchasya rechakaha akhyaha samiranaha. Samiranaha means the wise people who understand the importance of Vedanta. Samiranaha. In their view, what is Rechaka Akhyaha? What is called Rechaka? What is called exhalation consists of Prapanchasya Nishedhanam. Okay, so I'll come back to it in a minute, but let me go through a section by section understanding of all the three of them. So Rechaka we have defined, which means I'll explain the Prapanchasya Nishedhanam in a minute. Now let's go to Purakaha, which is the second part of the 119. Brahma eva asmiti yavrittihi purakaha Vayuhu iritaha. Purakaha is defined as Brahma eva asmi iti. Vritti. Okay. Then let's go to the third one, which is Purakaha. I'm sorry, Purakaha we have done. So the next one is Kumbhakaha. Tatastat vrittihi naischalyam kumbhakaha prana samyamaha. Ayam cha api prabuddhanam ajnanam grana pidanam. So he says, so let's go backwards now. He says, this method of seeing things is alone considered to be wisdom by prabuddhanam. So buddhanam means one who have understood this. Buddhi, the one who have buddhi is called buddha. The one who has certain understanding of the truth of things is called buddha. Prabuddha, prakarshena buddha. So here you can say that this becomes aparoksha anubhuti. So simply Buddha means paroksha anubhuti. Paroksha anubhuti means yes, this makes sense. But to really now understand it as nothing but yourself is aparoksha anubhuti, and that is what prabuddhanam means. He says ajnanam grana pidanam. And then simply just doing meditation, that is not considered to be wisdom. I remember this Swami Dayanand ji also used to say the same, it's all the same wisdom. And I remember this so well, because what happens is that as you start to understand the subject matter, then your mind becomes more peaceful and you begin to enjoy the meditation. But oftentimes meditation is enjoyed without the underlying understanding that created it. In other words, the effect of the understanding is so good that you forget about the understanding, you simply enjoy the process. So Swami Dayanand ji used to say, please, it's easy to do pranayama, you just do. He used to make these kinds of things. You can just do this, eyes closed, and then I'm just now peaceful and so on. He says that's just the beginning. That's really not it. And so the real meditation, this is called sahaja pranayama or sahaja anubhuti, is wherever your mind is, you never lose sight of the fact as to who you are. You are the Vediya, Adhisthana. We'll go into some of that in the Bhagavad Gita class. That understanding and the peacefulness that you get from that is the Vedantic meditation. So this is exactly what these verses are saying. They're just simply doing this and om. That is not meditation. It's not the real meditation. The real meditation is where you, no matter what you're doing, you are eating, you are cooking, you are helping somebody, you're driving, you're working, and so on, you are peaceful. And how do you have become? It's a process. You have to understand how that is. So he says, now let's go back to the 119 and 120. So in 119 says, Nishedhanam prapanchasya rechakaha akhyaha. So he says it is a very good process that has been enumerated by yogic meditation. But we need to understand what it means from a Vedantic standpoint. And from a Vedantic standpoint, what Rechaka means was exhalation. Giving up means that you don't be completely lost in your experiences. This is exactly what we do. Things are somebody talking to us, and then we react against it, and then we are very involved with it. Then we go to the next step, and okay, that's done. Now let's go to we're completely involved with the outside prapancha. Okay, whereas your mind is someplace else, even though you are engaged in working, but your sense of understanding, and in fact this is what it is, this is the presence of Ishvara, of Brahman, you never lose sight of it. Oh my God, see what is happening. This is also nothing but kind of like a dream. You're waking up from the dream and you say, oh, this is just an outside kind of a thing. An outside kind of a thing means that this is simply an expression of the Brahman. But Brahman is very much there. I am very much there. So this takes some time to really to learn and to believe in and to execute and so on. So he says, Nishedhanam prapanchasya rechakaha. The giving up of the externality of your life, pure externality. Not as though you can all close your eyes and become internalized all the time. No. But it means that the devoid of the presence of the Atma looking at things is the prapancha. Nishedhanam means give that up. Attempt to give that up. That is exhalation. Now comes to the reverse of that. Brahma eva asmiti yavritti purakaha. Inhalation means that you import. Import means to slowly inculcate. Just like you draw breath, not like, but you draw breath like, it takes a while. It's a deliberate process. So that deliberation, that my God, I am not just a simple Sakshi, I am the very Paramatma. I am not just the Jivatma, but I am the one that is never born, one who is Purnaha, one who is independent, Swatasiddha, Swayam Jyoti, all those kinds of gunas that we know associated with Paramatma. You bring that up, and even as you give up the externality, the appreciation that I am alone, that is called Brahma eva asmiti yavritti. He says that is also a vritti. It's also a thought. So this is what is called akhanda akara vritti. So akhanda akara vritti means that it's a thought that reverses my conclusion that I am just a limited being. But to say that I am unlimited, behaving like a limited being, is the Brahma eva asmiti vritti. That is called purakaha. And then we come to kumbhakaha. And kumbhakaha, he says, tataha tadvritti naischalyam. So this is what is called Brahmanishta. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam abhigachet. So Brahmanishta means what? Brahmanishta means that for the sadhaka, this is the process we go through. In the beginning, we have no idea what's going on, who am I, but you just behave it like a normal person. Then you are taught, hey, there's something interesting going on. Understand the fact that you are not just a mortal, you are immortal. So the first, I don't even understand how can I be immortal. Maybe that means I'll be hanging around for a long time. That's not what immortality is. You are immortal even now. That understanding. But then that the fact that I am aparichinnaha, I am not really a limited person, I am an unlimited person, comes and goes. Comes and goes. For a while I feel, oh yeah, I think I understand it. You close your eyes and it says yes. And the next thing you know, as you are talking and working and so on, that vritti goes. And you used to feel, what happened? I feel very parichinna, all the time I'm just limited. But what happens? I'm supposed to be non-limited. And yes, I did understand it for a while, but it's gone. So this is what is called rechakaha purakaha. Rechakaha purakaha. You are expelling and you are inhaling. You are expelling and you are inhaling. You are trying. This is what pranayama is. But there comes a point where the thought that I am Brahma eva asmi iti naischalyam, nischalata. Chalanam means to disturb, to come and go. Naischalyam means one which is sthira, naturally sthiraha, not by effort. That is called kumbhaka. So now we can summarize this. I'll just read it, and I think we have enough. We're just finished with that. So this is pranayama. Nishedhanam prapanchasya rechaka akhya. Brahma eva asmi iti yavrittihi purakaha. Tadvritti naischalyam kumbhakaha. Prana samyama. This is the prana samyama. So when you say pranayama, pranayama means prana samyama. Prana samyama means vritti samyama. Here. So he says, ayam cha api prabuddhanam ajnanam grana pidanam. And then so he says the others are, this is not really what meditation should be. So this is what is called sahaja samadhi. So sahaja samadhi means natural samadhi, where you are free of all externality and you are playing in the thoughts of who you are without needing anything else. That is what is called sahaja samadhi. So these are the steps of the Vedantic meditation in pranayama leading to sahaja samadhi. So with that, I think we can close off this step, and then next week we will start on pratyahara. Okay. So with that, we'll finish this section of the class. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaita Mritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvāmanusandadhāmi Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगा ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः. One of the students, and Shri, had said to me that sometimes if I put my hands like this, then the microphone, the sound doesn't catch the microphone very well. So I'm trying now to not do like this at all, hide it, but to keep below it. Thank you, Anshari, for pointing that out. Okay, so the verse number 29 that we are just about finished with, Ascharyavat pashyati kaschitenam, Ascharyavat tathaiva chanyaha, Ascharyavat chainam anyashranoti, Shutva apiyenam vedana chaiva kaschit. This is a verse that explains a lot of things. It's a very interesting and very important verse, I think, in the understanding of Vedanta, which is that if you look at the way life is and look at the people who view life is, that they are a very limited creation. Limited creation means, keep on using that word, means a very specific creation and working within a specific world. So all aspects of that. The fact that I'm born, this is our firm conclusion. I started at a particular time, and that I cannot stay the same. I'm changing. I'm growing. Shadvikaraha, growing, getting older, and then slowly going away. I'm limited, and I am enclosed in this limited world, and I'm somehow surviving as best as I can, and I'm also scrapping together moments of joy. Not easy. Not easy. It's almost like a beggar. I am like a beggar that scraps together something to eat. And to go from day to day, it is not known. How is it going to be? Will I get enough food? Will I survive? This is my situation. I scrap together some moments of joy. But it is all within the confines of a limited definition. This is the world that we are born into, and this is the world that we are living in, right? And any other kind of what you might call an escape is only based on promises that no one really knows. Swami Dayananji used to say that is a very interesting way of looking at things. He says, when I look at religion, including the Hindu religion, the religious aspect of Hinduism, all karma and based on yagas and karma kanda, and then all the other religions, everything that you know of, he says they are all sophisticated travel agents. It's a beautiful way of really looking at it, really correct. And so what the travel agent does, it works on the premise that as you are now, you want some freedom. You want some experience which is better than what you're doing now, because we in the Bay Area at least enjoy some good weather, and that's not all the time because we've had a lot of storms. And by the way, it's interesting, I don't know how this happens. We have had a storm just before the Tuesday class. We missed 3 of them, and guess what? They are predicting the next Monday and a Tuesday is going to be just as bad. So I am prepared to even cancel the next Tuesday class. You know how that happens. Bhagwan somehow is making sure that I don't have my Tuesday class. So the travel agent is based on the fact that where you are now, it's too cold and you don't like it. But I think I can get you a place which is better. And so this is exactly how all these beaches of the world, come out. And I remember this so well. I was working for HP, and then one of my colleagues said, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. So I said, really, where are you going? She says, I'm going to Belize. I still remember this, Belize. That's the first time I'd heard the word Belize. I think Belize is a country. I'm not sure if it's a city. I'm still not sure. I think it's a country in South America, Belize. And she said, oh my God, you think Hawaii is nice? You have still not done anything. It is the best place, and she showed me some pictures from it and so on. Where did she get this idea from? From some travel agency that says, hey, you can escape the problems of traffic and weather and so on, and go and enjoy. So this is exactly what our situation is. All religions are very sophisticated travel agent. And they're all based on the following premise. They say, your life is not very good, is it? So we say, no, you're absolutely right. It's not very good. And it's your life is coming to an end sooner or later, isn't it? So you say, yes. How did you know? It reminds me of a very silly joke that somebody had told me. So there was a guy who was having a midlife crisis. He was about 40, 41 or so. And he was really just saying, oh, my life is not very happy. And so his friend said, you know what? There's a very wise soothsayer who looks at you and looks at all the lines on your hand and so on, and he can predict the future. Do you want to go see him? So he says, okay, I'll go. So he goes to this soothsayer, and so the soothsayer says, I see you. You've not had a very happy life. So he says, that's true. And he says, you've had some really bad breaks in your life, and all of a sudden, you were expecting something and didn't have. He says, yes. already his Shraddha towards this soothsayer really went up. And he says, you are about 40 years of age. He says, yes, I am. So he says, can you now tell me what my life will be from now on? He says, yes, I can tell you. There will be a big change. He says, what? Big change? He says, yes. So he says, what change? He says, actually, all the things that you've been beset with, all the problems, they will continue. But the only thing is you will get used to them, so you will not be as sad as you are now. The guy just said, oh my God, this is so stupid. So this is exactly what happens. All the religions say, you're not very happy right now, are you? He says, no. Okay. We have a plan for you, a scheme. And so, of course, you have to pay for it to the travel agency. You have to get in a plane, you have to give commission to the travel agent. So the religious say that maybe in the next life, I think I can get you a very nice place. You can go to heaven, and they all have different descriptions of what heaven is and so on. So what I'm saying is that we are born in this life. So just look at this. This is all part of this ascharyavat pashyati kaschitenam. We are born in this life where lack of freedom, lack of absolute happiness, and lack of mortality is given. I accept it. This is the way it is. If you have any doubts, you can talk to anyone. You can talk to some friends. You can talk to some religious people. They'll say, yeah, that's the way it is. What can we do? We'll do better in the next life, but this life you are stuck. They all agree that really the lack of freedom and mortality is a fact of life. Okay? Hey, it's interesting. Well, this is not interesting. This is a very important thing. I think the more I read about this, it becomes very, very real to me. So understand this part of it. I hope I don't lose my track on this. So, one of the most basic questions that all students have, especially on Vedanta, but really everybody, is that if there is God, we're not sure there is God, but if there is, then why has He made life so difficult? Why is there so much pain and suffering? This is a very common question. Okay? And it is not until I'm really reading a lot of material that and I'm not sure whether this was clarified for me as well as it is now after really looking at the answers and so on, is this. And the answer itself may not become apparent until you really think about it. You have to accept it. So, the question is, why is there so much pain and suffering? So isn't that a cruel God that has created this? Because we say that, God created the world and so on. Why did He create this world? There's a long answer to this. We'll go into this, but I just want to give you a quick aspect of it. The real answer is, without pain and suffering, you will not turn to finding absolute freedom. Because we have such limited joy that we are searching for unlimited joy. And until you have desperation from limited joy, you're not going to seek freedom from any kind of a dukkha. One way of looking at it is that, first of all, it is not a real creation. You have always been as you and I are, in one form or the other, searching. What are we searching for? Absolute freedom. And you cannot find absolute freedom until you have lots of problems. Because otherwise, if things were running so well, you will continue to be deluded that this world is real. This is the answer. Beautiful answer. I didn't understand it at first, but now I have a much better understanding, and I really think this is it. Anyway, going back to this, is all relevant to this, to the dynamics. This is what is called Mimamsa. This is called the Mimamsa of understanding the Vedanta. Mimamsa means the very logic, the very thinking. So this is all embedded in this very beautiful verse, Ascharyavat Pashyati Kaschatena. So look at it from that standpoint. I just gave you a complete background on how life is. That is just defined only in terms of parichinnatvam. Parichinnatvam means by limitedness. The entire structure of life is with limitedness only. I'm just a limited being, and everybody else is also limited, and we are all trying to figure it out. We don't know what, and the only other possibility is the travel agent that says maybe you can go to a better limited life. And some say you can go to unlimited, and that promise is for the future. You're not unlimited now. So get this. You're limited now, but you will get unlimited in the next life. Maybe. If you give us some funds to make sure that our temple or mosque and church is well funded, then pray every day, come to it, support it, and then also proselytize. Everybody should be doing that. Then you will maybe go to a unlimited life, next life. This is the situation. In that situation, we hear a kind of a voice which says, hey, the way you have constructed your situation is totally wrong. You are not limited, you are not immortal, you are basically unlimited. You are unlimited. It's not that you will be. Don't you see that unless you are unlimited now, you can never be unlimited in the future? Because can infinity come about by adding things? Can infinity unlimitedness was ever limited? No. So you have to be unlimited now. This kind of a voice comes in. And so it is a wonder that this kind of a voice can appear in my life. Wonder. Total surprise. Hard to believe. So this is what it is. Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva cha anya. How somebody can even say this? And equally wondrous is that you see this. You are able to see this. You are able to hear this. You can arrest the normal way of looking at things and at least put your attention into this. This is a wonder. I don't know how you two can do that. So this is why it was the three of them. Ascharyavat pashyati enam, Ascharyavat vadati enam, Ascharyavat shrunoti enam. And then the last one is kind of very interesting, very important. Shrutva api enam vedana chaiva kaschit. That even though you have a glimpse of it, either you don't have a glimpse, you just walk away and you say, I don't know what these guys are talking about, which is normal. This is what is likely to happen, which is what does happen. But if you sort of like arrest your thinking and he says, what? Really? Is this possible? This is a wonder. I remember Swami Dayanand used to say it. He says, it is a wonder. Who are the people who really look into this? And this is Kali Yuga. In the old days when everything was Ramarajya, when Rama was there or Krishna was there, at least there were a lot of problems. But there was good education. You were brought up in a family where this was introduced very quickly. And then it was a matter of, are you able to lead a lifestyle that can absorb this? Then it was a different matter. But here our situation is that 99% of the time we are born into a situation where this vidya is not available by anybody. Our parents also didn't know. So for someone to really get across this and say, my goodness, really? And you look into that. So he says, Swamiji used to say that it is really a wonder who he used to talk about this fact. He says, one example he gave was, there was a student. There was a student who was listening and doing this, and this person had a friend, a lady friend, I remember. And so one day this student just invited this lady friend to say, come and listen to Swamiji. And I don't remember who that was, but Swamiji says, I cannot believe that this woman who had no background on this, had not listened to me, took to it immediately, and the friend who introduced her to Swamiji after a while went away. So I'm giving that, this example struck me for a reason. Shrutva api enam vedanach kaschat. So Lord Krishna says what is really wonder is that there is a person who has been studying, who has really put some attention to it, still does not get it. That is a wonder. I don't understand that. No, it's not saying that. I'm extending it to say Krishna says it's a wonder. So that portion of the last four, Shrutva api enam vedana kaschit, we will take up by Swami Shankarananda's commentary now. Okay? So here he says, I won't give you the entire definition of it, but I'll give you the sense of it and so on, and some of it we will look into it. All right, I'll draw your attention to the last part of the main paragraph. There's only one big paragraph of Swami Shankarananda's commentary on the verse number 29, other than just the start to it. And in this paragraph, the very last portion of this, which appears on the page number 79 on this book, goes as follows. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th line from the bottom. He says, Evam paramartha ichchoho shrotuhu tattva upadeshtuscha atidurlabhatvam pratipadya idanim ukta sadhana sampatti dhurasya mat vimakhasya atma bodhum na shakyah iti shrutva api enam. So he says, Evam paramartha ichchoho shrotuhu tattva upadeshtuhuscha ati durlabhatvam pratipadya. So he says, we've already talked about the difficulty of somebody wanting to be totally free, finding a teacher, shrotuhu tattva upadeshtuhu ati durlabhatvam. It's not easy. Not easy. This is something that I really admire, and I smile inside me when I see this. This is a very famous saying in this regard, that a guru will appear when you are ready. We hear this quite often. Okay? Now, I often have a feeling, my gosh, how come I did not know this before? I am now going through some excellent works by Swami Akhandananda ji, and this thought occurs to me multiple times. My goodness, I wish I had discovered Swami Akhandananda's teachings earlier. You know what? Ishvara says no. You know why? A guru appears when you are ready. You know what that means? That means you cannot ask the question, why didn't I know this earlier? You could not have known it. In fact, the same things that I am now being very impressed by which I will love to share that with you. I've got so much material and so many things that I'm learning from Swami Akhandanandaji's teaching that I could not have done it before. It's only up to a certain point where I can now, my mind and my thinking is such that I can appreciate the subtlety of the reasonings and the acceptance of the self, that this is me. All of that insight was not possible before. So here, why am I saying this is that just kind of occurred to me. Evam paramartha ichchoho shrotuhu tattva upadeshtuscha atidurlabhatvam pratipadya. So he says, pratipadya means having already explained that gurus and desirers of this vidya is not normal. It will happen, but it is relatively rare. Durlabhatvam. So durlabhatvam, you can say it is difficult to get. You can talk about difficulty, or you can say it is not often. Either one is correct. He says that I've already talked about it. Now, idanim ukta sadhana sampatti dhurasya mat vimukhasya atma bodhum na shakya iti shrutva bhiyacharya. He says, so this is a difficult thing to sampatti dhurasya means that, so here's the sense of it. He says, the difficulty of finding a guru, etc., is one thing. We've already talked about this in the earlier parts of it. Earlier parts of means Ascharyavat Pashyati Enam, etc. Now I am going to explain to you, even if you get a guru, even if you want to listen to it, even if the Shastra is there, you still don't get it. Why? So here it means that you are not ready. You are not ready. That's what he's saying. He says, sadhana sampatti dhurasya. Sampatti dhurasya means devoid of sadhana sampatti. So he will say that later on, I think. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, akshi. All these gains given in the Gita in the 13th chapter. He says that if you're not ready, then nothing really matters. This he now explains more detail. So I'll summarize it after we go through this. So that's the main point he's talking about. He says, Shruti Acharya Mat Prasada Rahitaha Amanitvadi Daiva Sampattihi Viduraha Yah Kaschit Atma Tattva Avagatyaihi Shravanadi Karoti Saha Ukta Sadhana Vaidhurya Chatatha. Sorry, this is a difficult word. Ukta Sadhana Vaidhurya Achatadha. I don't understand what Achatadha is. Just a second. Vaidhurya Achat. And let me look at the Hindi translation of it. Sorry. Yeah, it's cha. I got confused by that because of the Sandhi rules. It says shatadha. Shatadha means hundreds of times. So it becomes cha. So that confused me. Ukta sadhana vaidhurya shatatha sahasravapi shrutva. So I'll explain this in a minute. 100 and 1,000, what does it mean? Shravanam kritva api shabdat mananam cha kritva api enam prakritamatmainam na eva janati. So he says, listen, if you do not have the preparedness, so one good thing to see here is that vidya, knowledge, which is what is necessary for this vidya is necessary for praptasya praptihi. We know that pretty well. You should be very clear about it. That for apraptasya praptihi, what is the main one? Karma. And vidya is secondary. But for praptasya praptihi, vidya is primary and karma is secondary. Yeah, you have to open the book, you have to eat, you have to make sure that you attend classes, you start the class, all of this is karma. But the main thing is vidya. What is the primary qualification for knowledge? What is the primary qualification? We should really know this. Primary qualification for knowledge is preparedness. There has to be some level of capability you have to have without which you cannot get knowledge. So it's not as though the knowledge is not relevant. You can talk to a 6-year-old. Can you talk about Atma to a 6-year-old? You can't. Why? Because the mind has not yet been developed enough. Unfortunately, even though we are 60 years old, we still have a 6-year-old mind many times. So that means that, 60-year-old person here means ragadvesha. You get angry, you tolerate, you clinging on to your own people, you have no compassion for others. All those amanitvam, adambitvam, he cites that. So the 20 qualities given in the 13th chapter are absolutely essential. I remember when we were studying this in 1979, 1980, in that time frame, I used to say, "Oh well, no, that's okay. I'm so focused on this that amanitvam can wait. Can't wait. You can listen to it, and you can be impressed by it, and you can continue to do it, but nothing will happen until the sadhana has been amanitvam, etc." See, the primary thing about this vidya. So the question is, yes, I understand about the 6-year-old not understanding chemistry and so on and so forth, but what is it that I need to do? What is the preparation that I need to do? I think that the essence of the preparation that I need to do is not to have an airtight ego about myself. I'm just choosing some words, and I'm not sure that those words I can do better. But the concept is very clear to me. My words may not convey it. The concept is that I do enough in my life to consolidate the feeling that I am a limited person. I do enough in my life to consolidate that, isn't it? Because we all have a feeling that I may not be perfect, but I am what I am. And there's nothing else that I can do. I am what I am means what? I am a limited person, and that's okay. That's okay. That means I am consolidating everything with respect to a sense of limitation. And then we get very, very pricky about it. If somebody questions, or somebody has any doubt, or somebody has any criticism towards me, then I don't want anybody else to do that. At least whatever I am, don't let me be what I am. Don't try to poke holes in me. This much I am. This is what it is. Yeah, let me take care of my own health and whatever I do, my likes and dislikes. What are my? Nobody can say why are you going to movies? Because I like movies. So what's wrong with that? So this is all a sense of limitation. Sense of sort of like a limited ego. Okay? So in order to understand, I would just go back to the very familiar examples we've been giving, that if you are a room space, if you are a consciousness, chidakasha, conscious akasha, and the conscious akasha has become a room akasha. So the consciousness is still there, identity is still there, thinking is there, but the identity is now enclosed in whatever circumstance you have. So you can say that, I may not be total akasha or whatever you want me to do, but at least I am this much. I'm happy. These are my walls, these are the pictures on the walls, this is a television here and so on. And I may not be a big hall, but this room is okay. And there's no need to give me anything else. This is okay, I'm all right. So the teaching is, do you want, so the teacher can come in and say, don't you want to be the biggest room in the world? Then the person can say, yeah, but I cannot entertain that because I cannot be the biggest room. I wonder, which is, it's interesting. I think we should ask Google or Siri, which is the largest enclosed space in the world? That would be an interesting thing. Maybe some of you guys can do that. Let me know what the answer is. That there is a big hall, and I'm looking at cubic feet space. So you can say, well, no, I am not qualified to do that, because for that you need to get a lot of permits and money and so on. But I'm happy the way I am. So he says, do you want to be the biggest space there is? Yes, but I can't dream of being the biggest space. You already are the biggest space. Am I already the biggest space? What do you mean? So there's where Ascharyavat pashyati enam, that there is nothing enclosing you. This is just your viewpoint that you are enclosed by the walls. You are actually enclosing all the walls. All the walls come and go, but you stay the same. So going back to this sadhana, the preparation, what is it that I need to, when we say the 6-year-old needs to grow up in order to understand all the all the subtleties of physics and chemistry. But what do I need to do? What I need to do is to loosen my self-worth identity. It's called abhimana. In Sanskrit, this word is used, abhimana. Abhimana means that this is a lot, we will talk about this quite a bit, abhimana. The abhimana means that my sense of this is who I am. That itself is a stumbling block to understand that you are everything. At least you should be be ready to give that up. Don't take yourself that seriously. You may not be that good, but you're not that bad. You're okay. Just laugh at yourself. Just smile at yourself. Give that identity up. Be ready to do it. I know you are clinging to it. But until you dissolve it, you cannot get total space. So this is the real meaning here. So he says, Shruti Acharya Mat Prasada Rahita Amanitvadi Daiva Sampatti Viduraha Yah Kaschit Atmatattva Avagatyai Shravanadi Karoti Saha Ukta Sadhana Vaidhurya Shatada Sahasrava Shrutva Shravanam Kritva Api Shabdat Mananam Chakritva Api Enam Prakritamatmanam Naiva Janati. He says, basically, this sentence means, if you are not working on your preparation of giving up your limited identity, at least willing to give up the identity. You may not give it up, but the start is that you should see that you are, and you're willing to give up that. If you don't do that, I don't care how many times you would be listening, how much mananam you will do, hundreds and thousands of times if you can do that, nothing is going to happen to you. So here, in summary, what it means is the last portion of this verse, Shrutva api enam vedana chaiva kaschit, means that the first three were the difficulty of finding the right guru, the right motivation. But even if you have all of that, you still need to work on your sadhana, your sampatti. So this is what is said. So now we can summarize this. I'll read the whole thing so you can see, from those of you that know some Sanskrit. Now that we have given you the explanation, you will see how that makes sense. So he says, I go back to the very beginning of when I started to read. Evam paramartha ichchoho shrotu tattva upadeshtuscha ati durlabhatvam pratipadya. That we have already done. The difficulty of finding a guru, etc. Idanim, now, ukta sadhana sampatti dhurasya vat mat. Anyway, bodhum na shakya iti shrutva api enam. So he says, even if you have the guru, you have the ichcha, you are listening and so on and so forth, you still don't get it. Why? He says, Shruti Acharya Mat Prasada Rahita Amanitvadi Daiva Sampatti Dhuraha Yaha Kaschit Atma Tattva Avagatyahi Shravanadi Karoti. That bereft of the sadhana sampatti If you keep on listening, Shravanadi Karoti, and then also Sahasra Shatadha Sahasradhava Shutva Shravanam Kritva Api Shabdan Mananam Chakritva. You keep on thinking, and all that, nothing is going to happen. So therefore, he summarizes by saying, Jnatum Jnanaphalam cha praptum na shakyati. Jnatum Jnanaphalam cha praptum means that the results of this, what is the result of that? An understanding that I am not a mortal being, I am an immortal being. That is the phalam. Jnatum jnanaphalam na praptum na shaknoti. So then he summarizes by saying, etena, by this, sarvamidam aham cha brahma eva iti, sarvasya brahma matratva vijnanam durlabhataram iti suchitam bhavati. So he says, it's very obvious, we should know this, that to know that I am the Paramatma, that Brahma. In other words, Paramatma is, I am not a limited being. Paramatma and the Atma both being the same and the unlimited being, that's who I am. It's very difficult. He says, Brahma matratva vijnanam durlabhataram iti suchitam bhavati. Suchitam bhavati means this has now been informed. So you should know, you should see the, don't be in some kind of some false impression that you should see all the things that are necessary. Guru and so on, and then preparation is all important. Okay, so now finally we are done with verse number 29. 10:21. Okay, let's do for the next 10 minutes. So now let's go to verse number 30. Dehi nityamavadhyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam sochitum arhasi. So is introducing this verse, Dehi nityam avadhyoyam. He says the one that dwells in the deha, deha means the body, the one that is the swami of the deha. We are all the swami of our own body. I may not be swami to anybody else, but I am the indweller. I am the one who takes care of my own limited apparatus that I have, my thinking, my body, and so on. So that person, Dehi. So you can say Jivatma. Nityam avadhyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata. He says, know this person to be independent of whatever happens to the deha. So the Dehi is the one who appears to be in part of this deha, but really has nothing to do with it. It is an independent one. So he says, Dehi nityam avadhyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitum arhasi. So therefore, for that, your sense of sorrow about the other bodies being slain in this war is unwarranted. Why is it unwarranted? Because you are not affected by the bodies being decimated. You are not affected. So the Dehi is not affected, Deha is affected. So this is just the overall meaning of it. But let's look at Swami Shankarananda's explanation of what this verse is. So he says, if you look at the introductory sentence, just one sentence for verse number 30, given on the page number 80 in this book, Purvam Avyaktadini Bhutani इति भीष्मादि शब्द वाच्यर्थस्य अशोच्यत्व उपसंहृत्य इदानीम आत्मनः लक्ष्यार्थस्य अशोच्यत्वम उपसंहरति देहि इति. Beautiful. He says, before avyktadini bhutani, by the verse number, was it 28, was it? Yeah. Number 28 was Avyaktadini Bhutani Vyakta Madhyani Bharata Avyakta Nidhanani Eva Tatra Ka Baridevana. So we have gone through that. He says, Purvam Avyaktadini Bhutani, by this sentence number 28, iti Bhishmadi Sabda Vachyarthasya Ashochatvam Upasamhritya. So he says that it has already been concluded and discussed and concluded that Bhishma Adi, all the people that Arjuna was seeing in the war, they come from nothing and they are going to be gone. They're just a kind of momentary presence, and so it's not as though you're going to be able to save them. They're all going to be gone. So why worry about it? So we went through all of the logic for this. That something which is essentially not satyam. Why is it not satyam? Because something that was not there before and will not be there later on itself is not satyam. So just like an ornament, the ornament was not there before and it can be gone. That means it is just mithya. So this refers to the deha now. See, this is the point that he is making. He says that with respect to the bodies as being transient, you don't deserve to have any shoka for them. This was already done. Purvam avyaktadini bhutani iti bhishmadi shabda vachyarthasya ashochatvam upasamhritya. Upasamhritya means having concluded, having summarized. Having summarized the fact that there is no need to worry about something which is just transient. Idanim atmanah lakshyarthasya ashochatvam upasamharati. See, this is a beautiful point. He says, before that you were directly pointing out to the bodies as being not worthy of your shokam. Now by implication, lakshyartha means by indirect means, vachyartha means directly, because avyaktadini bhutani etc. means you are directly referring to the bodies as being not really deserving of your shoka. But now this summarizes the lakshyartha. That means that even though the deha is being talked about, the dehi is incapable of is non-deserving of your shoka. You see the point? Let me summarize it. I'm not sure that I did a good job of it. Previously, number 28 was talking about the bodies as being not deserving of your shoka. Now we're saying that not the bodies, but by lakshyartha, by implication, by indirect means, the one who dwells in it also does not deserve your shoka. So here the emphasis is on the dehi, dehin. Dehi means the one that has deha is called dehin. That is what's called dehi. So the dehi means you, the jivatma. Why? Because avadhyoyam, nitya avadhyoyam, sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani na tvam shochitam arasi, means that because the dehi is nityam, is not affected by the killing, and that is the single dehi for everyone. It's not as though your atma is different and then that my atma I'll be okay, but your atma may not be. No, same atma. That's why the word sarva can be used. So there he says, tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitam arasi. Their atmas cannot be affected. That's the point he's making. So, see, where are we? It's 10:30. So I think that I may not go into the details of it. That's pretty much it. So here he defines the word dehi. He Bharata Atma Jnana Sampannaha Sarve Dehaha Upalabdhi Sthanattvena Asya Santiti Dehi Sarva Deha Upadimanam Manayam Ayam Atma Sarvasya Brahmadi Stambha Paryantasya Pranijatasya Dehe Vadyamanepi Nityam Swayam Avadhya Eva Bhavati. So pretty much he explains the word dehi, and then he says for everyone, from Brahmaji to a grass, they all have the same atma. Even a blade of grass which is growing, which is a jiva, also has some sukshma sharira, and that sukshma sharira is enlivened by the same atma. So the same atma is there everywhere. And so this is good. He's just giving one. I'll just finish this off. He says, Avvikriyatvad atma ghateshu nashteshu tatstha akashavat swayam nityam swayam avadhyaha eva bhavati. Sorry, I wrote the wrong sentence. Avikriyatvad atma ghateshu nashteshu tatstha akashavat swayam tunanashyati. So he says, just like the space in a ghata. Ghata means some earthen pot, that by the pot being broken has no effect on the space within the ghata. Just like that, therefore here also, by the nashta of the deha, dehi is not affected at all. This is the meaning that is given. Then the last sentence is kind of interesting. He says, Siddhasya Brahmavidaha Sarvakarma Sanyasaha Eva Adhikaraha Iti Bhutani Natvam Sochitum Arhasi Iti Padena Shochitam Bhavati. So, This is a very interesting last summary which anticipates the next verse. So we will go over that in the next class, but let me at least summarize the verse number 30, which is Siddhasya Brahmavidaha Sarvakarma Sanyasaha Eva Adhikara. He says that this, if someone understands this, means Siddhasya Brahmavidaha, Brahmanishta, one who has nishtha, right? Like we saw in the last on the last class, one who has kumbhakaha, one who has a nishtha towards Brahma. There is nothing to be done for that person. You don't have to fight. You don't have to do anything. So, Siddhasya Brahmavidaha Sarvakarma Sanyasaha. You have the sanction not to do anything. Eva Adhikaraha. In fact, now the opposite is being said. Unless you are a Brahmavidaha, you don't have the adhikara for Sarvakarma Sannyasa. That's what he's saying. Iti padena suchitam bhavati. Contrasted to that will be the next verse number 31, where he says, if you don't understand it yet, you have to keep fighting. So he will see this, Swadharmamapi cha avekshya na vikapintum arhasi dharmyadhi yudhyat shreyo anyat shattiyasya na vidyate. So this will be an interesting verse that takes, I will remind you of this last one that we just saw, that only a Brahmavidaha alone is to be told not to fight. But until that point, you have to keep going. So that's the sequencing of the various verses in this second chapter. So with that, I'll close the class today. Om Asato ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall. It's a wall or is it a complete structure, enclosed structure? Anyway, thank you for looking at it. Good to have you all. Wonderful. So if there's no other questions, then I will take your leave and hopefully we'll see you next week. Hari Om.